Have you ever listened to a person talk for less than a minute and known you weren't going to get along with that person? What did they say? New guy at work. Super fake by being overly excited and super overly comfortable with everyone in the first minute. He's all mommy this and poppy that to everyone and very overly touchy. We were almost all Hispanics there and everyone was uncomfortable. First phone call of the day, he hangs up cursing and taking it super personally that someone hung up on him. Daily occurrence in customer service. After about 6 months, I put in my 2 weeks notice solely because I couldn't work next to or with him anymore. He would also get overly gossipy and personal. My boss rejected my notice and transferred him. He couldn't stand the guy either. No one could. There are different levels to being a psychic. I'm on the purple level so I can talk to the dead. Said a new employee at my previous job. Nope. New guy at work. First coffee break he started complaining about his ex who had full custody of the kids for some unknowable reason and also how he'd like to slash her throat with a rusty knife. Nice to meet you too, don't think I'll be taking breaks with you. They talked negatively about someone else in a very judgy way. There was this mom in my daughter's school who seemed to know everyone. She talked to me and she spoke so bad about these people. Then moments later I saw her interacting in a friendly way, with those she was judging. My eyes rolled so much I could see my brain telling me not to get involved with her. And I was right, because by the time school year ends, her friends hated her and they were talking behind her back too. I was listening to the NXIVM podcast and the clip of the founder saying he has 225 IQ. If I walked into a room and heard someone say that, I'd walk right back out. I was in a job interview once and the manager cut me off mid-sentence to jump to a weird conclusion. What do you think the performance of this algorithm would be? Me, oh, it'll be n times him. Oh, you think it's going to be n? You think it'll be n? That's ridiculous, there's no way it would just be n. Mia, you gotta let me finish speaking. He then cut me off mid-sentence twice more during our conversation. We didn't get along. Dude was a total tool. Asked me, do you mind if smoke? Then proceeded to take out a meth pipe. The new neighbor who after introducing himself pointed to his chest and says, instant asshole, just add beer. That's what the family says. Nah, we're not gonna be neighbor pals. Fuck you if you were an asshole even without beer. The quiet boy at school sat next to me and told me how hard he felt when he took a shit and how many times he ejaculated that way. I never sat next to him again. Meet your teacher day before my kiddo started kindergarten and this other parent literally bragged that her kid was completely illiterate, couldn't stand being read to, and she hated reading too. Asked a guy what he does at a business networking event. Well, I'm a chiropractor but looking to get out. How come? All these Me Too accusations. In another state I had 3 of them. Good thing none of them went to the bar. Added he probably said board instead of bar. As soon as he started complaining about Me Too accusations I pretty much tuned him out. You're late. I've been here for 10 minutes already. I was only 5 minutes late for the date because I was looking for parking and had let him know. We had just moved into a new house. An older gentleman, he was 65 and I was 35 at the time, came across the street towards me and stuck out his hand. I shook it and he said, we love new neighbors as long as they're white. I know I'm not supposed to ask, but I need to know. It's not for work or anything. What religion are you? HR manager. He learned I'm a physicist, and immediately started talking about infinite energy. Parent of one of my kids' friends at school. Said there was a mouse in their house and his wife wanted him to kill it, but he didn't want to kill any creatures, he wants to make friends with them instead. But wife insisted, so he threw his shoe at it and eventually managed to hit it, but it wasn't dead, so he threw his shoe at it another 4 times. It still wasn't dead, so he poured boiling water over it to kill it. It still didn't die, so he poured boiling water over it again. It still wasn't dead, so he decided to leave it alone in the hopes that it would peacefully pass away. The logic of being too squeamish to kill something, and instead decide to torture it to death slowly in the most agonizingly painful way, absolutely blew my mind. Some people might say I'm an asshole, but I just tell it how it is. 99 chance they are an asshole that I don't want to be around. Started at a new job. Went for a team dinner and the very first thing he did was talk about how bad the dating scene was in the city and how ugly all the women are. Dating scene was absolutely fine BTW, I pull out of the conversation and then he just continues to ramble on about how smart he is versus everyone else. Safe to say I've been avoiding him since. Was a customer at work, naturally I wouldn't be friends. But even in a setting where we could become friends, it wasn't happening. I came up to her to see if she had any questions about our critters. I work in a pet shop and the very first thing she asked was if parakeets could talk because she wanted to teach them racial slurs. Biggest nope of my life. Years ago, me and my ex-husband went to see a movie with an older colleague of his. Before the movie we had dinner at like a chain restaurant steakhouse type place. Staff on the floor was all 20-ish. I never met this man before, but in the first few minutes of sitting down and looking at the menu he very confidently told us how he came there a lot and flirted with the female staff because they loved the attention. The best part? His daughter worked there. All I could think was how I would literally cringe myself through the floor if I was 20 and my 50-yo dad came into my place of work and perved on my co-workers because he didn't understand that they only put up with him cause they are paid to do so. I met one of my new colleagues at a barbecue that was being hosted by our work. A man drove with another co-worker, a woman and a friend of mine, so we arrived together. When I was alone for a moment, this guy, whom I've never spoken to before, comes up next to me and says, "Yo dude, you had seen that?" Gestures to my friend. I said no, and she also has a boyfriend. He very exaggeratedly says damn yada yada. He got fired 2 years later for sexually harassing an intern. New guy started at my job. We were outside smoking on first break. Keep in mind I have never met nor spoken to this dude in my life. He walks up, lights up his cigarette and says, "You know, I think my severe arachnophobia has transformed into an arachnophilia. I've been watching a lot of spider hentai while masturbating." He then began to describe his new waifu pillow he bought, her name and his plans to marry her. I was speechless. I used to play the drums and jump around in different bands to find one that fit. One guitarist, and I'll never forget it, said, "I don't know what it is, but black women's pussy smells so bad." It also came out of nowhere since we were talking about music during a practice. I never saw him again. I also apologize for having to repeat it. I hate that our boss is a chick. Bitches make the worst bosses. Lunch break of his first day on the job. They didn't know what World War II was, who Hitler was, or why Nazis were bad. She thought it was a slur for white person because she kept seeing it on the news and online. I'm going to fuck up your face. It isn't so much what they say, it's how they say it. If the person has not learned to take a breath between natural breaks in what they're saying and, instead, continue to steamroll over a conversation, I'm tuning out. We need to start doing X200B. It was the assistant my work at the time transferred to work with me. Literally first minute he was telling me how to fix my site. The one he knew next to nothing about. Let the nerd do it, after my then manager self-informed a new hire of his next task, which apparently he found beneath him. I'm a female person. I once met a woman who told me she hates women and has no female friends because women are too much drama and she's just one of the guys. Okay. Got it, thumbs up. Told me yeah, all women are bitches, you included. No offense. Within the first 2 minutes of knowing me, it's all about the tone for me. Had just started a job, and within a minute of meeting one of my new colleagues he waxes lyrical about how weak it is that one of our other colleagues uses an inhaler, oblivious to the fact I myself use an inhaler though my asthma is mild and well managed. Ironically, the shit-talking colleague in question had no discernible chin and looked very out of shape himself. 2004, first day in my college dorms, and the very first words my new roommate says to me after "Hi, I'm named where you're a Republican, right?" I didn't want to cause problems within the first minute of meeting, and I didn't really follow politics too closely at the time, so I just said sure to keep the peace. Then he slapped a proud Republican sticker on the front of our door. It was not a great year. I knew I wasn't gonna like her based off her actions on her first day at work. We work with dogs at a daycare and boarding place. In the morning, during feedings, one of the first things she tried to do was get meds from the med cabinet. I tell her no, that's front desk, they handle medication. She just kinda nods. In my head, I'm like, not sure why you were trying to pass out meds without anyone explaining anything to you, but okay, let's move on. Few days go by, then one day, she asks if she's supposed to clean the water bowls we have in the dog's suites overnight. She was already told how to clean suites, which involve cleaning the bowls every morning. I just say yes. She also asked me if she should clean the park water bowl after a dog peed in it. I again say yes. She still works here, but no one likes her since she likes to pretend she knows what she's doing, then asks questions that can be answered by having basic common sense and problem-solving skills. New girl at my job. I asked her how her training videos were going and she rambled for about 30 seconds about how her old professors bred horses. She ended up being my least favorite coworker. Went to the penthouse party of a guy my friend used to hook up with. This dude gave me Patrick Bateman vibes, from his house decor to the way he talked. Total creep. The only time he spoke directly to me the entire party he was making fun of homeless people. I did not like him. I like people, I really do. But after about a minute and a half I gotta get the FK out of there. George Carlin. Oh, you're a Scorpio? I can definitely tell because girl only knew me for 5 minutes when she said that. It was a group project. I was forced to get along with her for the better part of a semester. This was in an astronomy class. Hi, Let's talk about how my religion can change your life. They tried to convince me that Hitler had some good points. I think he's in jail now. All-time favorite was this girl they had just hired who would answer any question by responding that she had a fiancé. Like, hi, my name is Bill, where are you from? I have a fiancé. Like any of us were going to bang her in the walk-in cooler if she didn't. My new neighbor moved in and avoided contact for the first week or so before walking over to us while my wife and I were doing some yard work. He says I've got my lady hollering at me to come to the hospital. She's having our kid. Oh, congrats, I said. I hope it's not mine. He says, me at my first day on the job, on my lunch break, coworker, are you Chinese? Me, yeah, coworker, I don't like Chinese food, walks away. I'm not racist, but, oh, we finally have a female manager? I hope she won't cry like the last one. Maybe she can get male manager 1 and 2 organized. My new male employee, referring to me, who he didn't realize was standing within earshot behind him. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I offend everybody equally, says something racist. Says something homophobic. Says something sexist. Anytime Jews come up in a conversation in a context other than the person telling you that they're Jewish, it's usually bad. Have you read anything about flat earth theory? At a gym, a guy I knew to be a drug dealer came up to me and opened with, would you look at the tits on that? About a friend who was a police officer. Classless and ignorant, not a friend-winning combo, I'm afraid. Only guy I've ever met who was every shit male stereotype rolled into one. It was a leap year and her birthday was on February 29th. It was the week of her birthday and she was holding her boyfriend to give her a birthday, every day to make up for birthdays she had missed previously. She was complaining that the birthday she had today wasn't as good as one of the previous ones and she wanted the last one to be the best. Well, I'm a taxpayer, so. Girl, I have 2 siblings. How many siblings do you have? Me, I have 10 siblings. But I only associate with my twin now. Girl, disgusted, geez, your mom should close her legs, I bet you don't even share a father with all of them. Me, you're a bitch. Walks away. I didn't want to respond to the actual statement because out of those 10 the only full-blooded relative I had was my twin. 6 were half, 3 were step and 1 adopted. I think that whole conversation lasted less than 30 seconds. It was supposed to be a simple icebreaker and that single question told me everything about her personality and who she was. A bitch. Whenever someone is rude to the waiter, server, cashier, instantly you are my enemy. Asked my new coworker what he likes to do for fun. He responded with, I like to memorize Bible verses in the shower. I laughed, he did not. Weird dude. This is going to be tame compared to the others here. So my job involves me calling people to help them with their problems, not cold calling. They've contacted us for help first. Each day I have a long ass list and want to get through it as fast as possible, so shorter phone calls are best. So when someone starts a conversation with okay, I'll try to keep this short. I already know I won't like them, because that's code for I'm gonna tell you my life story and I won't take a single breath throughout. For the next 3 months the first and last word out of your miserable mouth will be sir. I figured he must be angry about something. I tried to ask him what was wrong and if he wanted to talk about it, but he just kept getting madder and madder. I was talking to a girl in college and she made some remark about, yeah, like when you test your boyfriend to make sure he loves you, and I remember thinking, you seem so normal. Anything that starts with a look over both shoulders and a since it's just us head nod that lets you know some racist ignorant shit is coming. I was at my sister-in-law's house at a housewarming when their new neighbor let fly right after he met me. He was trying to discreetly talk to me and his friend who was also over. I did the I don't understand trick where you keep asking them to explain the joke until it's uncomfortable for everybody and starts drawing attention. Still hate that dude. My best friend, loved him to death, would have died for him. Well, it wasn't him. It is his aunt at his birthday party. The first thing she said to me was, "You're so handsome, you got a girlfriend? Or are you one of them queers?" As a gay man I took immeasurable offense and responded with, "Oh, I haven't found the time, and I'm sure I look about as dashing as you did around my age." She took it as a compliment. I never said she still looked attractive. I spent the rest of the night essentially insulting her through cheap compliments but with the most earnest and genuine smile. Basically, I threw so much gay shade she couldn't clock it. But my friend sure did and he was loving it. I decided to talk to you because you seemed like the smartest one in the room. When I was an intern in like 2017, I used to carpool in a packed car of other interns, mixed gender group. First day this girl asks the whole car, but she's only directing it to the guys, "Do you think Kendall or Kylie is hotter?" Absolute silence for several minutes. "License and registration please." I have no filter. Out to dinner with my husband's new co-worker and his wife. The wife was a vegan and she ordered just guacamole at the Mexican restaurant. When it comes, she calmly says, "Oh, I forgot I'm allergic to avocados." I looked over at my husband and gave him the "I want to go home now" look. We stayed for the rest of dinner and immediately went home. Side note, the husband forgot she was vegan and kept calling her a vegetarian. They got divorced 1.5 years after that dinner. No one wants to work anymore. I've been here 15 years and I've never called in sick. I had a fever and I came in and powered through it. I said I was sorry that he couldn't afford to miss a shift and he got all offended. It was genuinely a point of pride for him to work while sick. Absolutely disgusting. Anyone that uses their political ideology as their sole identity wasn't something they said, but they started grinding their teeth while talking and raising their voice to get their point across at the tiniest first disagreement. I'm a bitch. Was out to eat with this person and they chewed with their mouth open. Yay, our friendship didn't stand a chance. Let me get a cigarette to a stranger. Any random tough talk about Golden Gloves usually never trained. Any martial arts stories about prison time, failure at crime, and more likely to be a snitch, and a sort of aggressive body language that tells they are used to beating they wife, kids, and drunks at the sports bar but secretly terrified of other men. In retail you meet many customers. One of them, content warning, Animal Death, gleefully told them about how cats would often wander into their backyard, where they kept their dogs. Dogs would eat cats. Neighbors complain and dog owner didn't care and felt righteous. I understand people have different views on this. But why was she so arrogant and cocky about it? Like, cold and didn't give a shit. Taking my emotional feels about it aside, she is an arsehole foremost because of her attitude about it. I remember seeing someone for around 20 seconds. They didn't seem aware of my presence and they were already making fun of me because I simply walked by. They made fun of other people too. But the fact that they just met someone and immediately targeted them for harassment is a red flag bigger than most polls can handle. I went to a teacher conference. My colleague introduced me to a lady from another school. We shook hands and exchanged names. Her first question was, "Are you married?" Which seemed forthright but not entirely uncommon. When I said yes, she asked if my wife is Chinese. I said yes again. Her response was, "Because of you, one Chinese man will be unable to find a wife." I'd love to say I had a clever comeback. Instead I was stunned into silence. "You're colorblind? What color is this? What about that?" I started my PhD a few months ago and one of a common starter conversation with postgraduates you just meet is, "What is your thesis about?" Well, I get asked the question first and after describing my dissertation theme, the other guy goes, "Oh I see, well mine is actually important." With a very condescending tone. Well pal, fuck you too I guess. Anytime someone says I'm the realest person you'll ever meet, they're pretty much a lost cause. First day at my job as a service advisor. Female co-worker says she has 7 years of experience in automotive and I should ask her anything about anything. I was hesitant my first week since she didn't know the difference between shocks and struts or air filter and cabin air filter. I was embarrassed for her. 1. I don't like women who burp. They should be ladylike too. Black people can't be racist. 3. You're going to hell if you don't believe in God. All three were said by different people and they were all serious, their statements. I can only be friends with people who check up on me and text me throughout the day every day. I don't even have time to text my own family back. Who has time to text all day every day as an adult? Yes, this guy hopped into our Discord group a few months back. He was a friend of a friend, but he didn't think to just add him to our server, not our group chat. We all hop into a call and first thing he does is make some remarks that are very politically sensitive, sent some graphic photos and made some inappropriate remarks. Didn't expect to meet someone and have him offend 6 people in the span of 10 minutes. First one-on-one chit-chat with a new guy on site, "I'm really thankfully my son's not gay." And then complained about every possible thing that's not a straight white guy. Twitter is going to be worth 10 times what it is now in 7 years. Trust me.